Good morning, everybody. This is Lori Wilson with you on Community Voice. Happy, what is this, Wednesday already. And we have in studio, I am so excited. Just hang on to your seats, everyone. We have Donna Fiducia and Don Neuen of Cowboy Logic Radio. Good morning, Donna.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
And he is
Don Neuen.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Don Neuen. And this is going to be a riveting
segment.
Okay,
This
good.
is his intro all the time. I should explain.
No, I just thought you were getting ready to make me look good in front of the chief.
Yeah.
Well,
what he does
you
is,
do that on your own.
when we do a radio show, he could never get a word in edgewise, so he took to basically blurting out his name. That was about 1/10 of what he does on our show. I mean, he literally blurts out his name because he never could get a word in edgewise.
So let's plug the show, cowboylogic.us.
Right? Cowboy Logic Radio, and we're heard right here on WLBB, and that is on Tuesdays from 9 to 11 p.m. at night, and that's part of our overnight programming that LBB is part of, which is awesome.
It is awesome.
And
1330 AM,
106.3
FM.
FM.
Donna.
Yes.
You guys are going to get me fired, and you're going to be here behind this microphone.
You have nothing to worry about because we don't like getting up this early.
Okay. Yeah, you guys are night owls if that's when you...
Well, I used to work in morning radio, and the bad thing is I really, really go to bed late. I never went to bed before 12 or 1 o'clock, and I'd have to get up at 3:30 in the morning. I used to say I spent the best years of my life wanting to take a nap. I don't know how you do it. I just, had to be in at 5. I'm like, seriously? In New York? No way.
Well, anyway, so we're just thrilled that you're here.
Thank you.
Donna, I've known you for years because you used to be on Fox News.
Yes, on Fox News. I started in New York City doing helicopter traffic reporting, actually. And decades ago.
Yeah,
Let's
I
just
know,
put it that way.
Gone way too fast.
And yes, and at WNEW-FM, which is the biggest rock radio station in the nation. And I got there right out of college, actually. I was able to work at Seton Hall University on their radio stations where I went to college during the blackout of 1977. That's how far back I go back.
Holy cow.
And so I was the only person on the air for almost 40 hours, because back then they didn't have, stations didn't go off the air and then go right back on, have generators and that kind of thing. The city was blacked out, and we were in New Jersey, and I was the only voice, really, at WSOU that was telling people what to do in emergencies and that kind of thing.
Wow.
And the program directors heard me, and I got hired right out of college.
You're writing your memoirs, right?
No, I'm not.
Oh,
I
for
wish I
heaven's
did.
sakes.
And then the program director of NEW went over to WNBC radio. And the morning guy was Don Imus, and the afternoon guy at the time was Howard Stern.
Oh, man.
And that was when Howard was G-rated. And he calls me up, he goes, I got a job for you, but you got to work with Howard Stern. And I go, well, that's okay. Actually, Imus was more the problem than Howard. He was kind of curmudgeon-y old guy. He's actually retiring now, and Howard was actually a lot of fun. So I did helicopter traffic reporting. I got paid essentially to sightsee over
cool.
New York City, which is amazing. Then I went to NBC, VH1 also, and NBC doing television helicopter traffic reporting. So I was the first TV traffic reporter in New York City, because the other one was just radio. And then went to news. I went to the Today Show, and then I went to Good Day New York, and then Roger Ailes hired me at the Fox News Channel.
So you were in New York for all that
30
time?
years.
Wow.
Well, 29.
Well, we're
Who's
glad to
counting?
have you down here.
I went from, 40 million people in Metro New York to
197
in Roopville.
Georgia.
Yep.
It's beautiful out there.
We were in New York over the Christmas holidays, and we can now say Christmas again after,
Yes. Thank you.
after
It's okay.
8 years
President
of
Trump.
being bludgeoned by the Obama administration not to say that. We're continuing to wish Merry Christmas to everybody. Everybody, I'd love to wish you a Merry Christmas.
And we had a Merry, Merry Christmas this year.
More than a Merry Christmas.
But I think there were more people on one street corner.
When we were in New York, Donna had to see the windows at the Macy's store.
Parade.
And so we walk up there, and we're looking around, and we're going, my gosh, there are more people on this one corner of the street that we're standing on than in our whole town.
In all of Roopville.
Yeah, and you know what? The more,
and we couldn't get out of there quick enough.
The more years I have between me and my years living in L.A. area, the more I find myself not agoraphobic, but I
But
kinda
when you
like my
grow
wife.
up in that area, that's all you know.
Yeah, that's true.
And New York, I could always get on a train or drive my car in or whatever, and it was always right there. I do appreciate it more, when I go up there to see my kids. They're still up there. My son's actually in law school in New York City. So it's kind of, bittersweet when I go up there. And I had to walk past the Fox studios.
I couldn't get back to God's country quick enough.
Yeah,
There
that's
are
how I
more
feel.
cows.
Yeah.
There are more cows in Rooteville, I think, than there are people.
Well, Don, where do you come from? Tell us about your background.
Born in Indiana, so kind of a Midwestern kind of a person.
Okay.
Spent a little time in Wisconsin where we ate a lot of cheese and dairy products. And then moved down to Atlanta. And kind of like you, we moved around, we bounced around because of my dad was in education. And so one university would make him a better deal, and we packed the bags and move. So we came down to Atlanta when I was in the 4th grade, and from there, finished high school, then went to Tennessee to go to college.
With your
dad? And then Dad kept bouncing around, ended up out there where you lived. And he just retired from UCLA.
No kidding.
Yeah. Moved back to Wisconsin.
Oh, okay.
Of all crazy things to do.
Yeah. In his early 80s, he calls up Don the other day and he goes, "This is ridiculous. I have to put on a coat to go out and get the newspaper."
Hello,
Well,
Wisconsin.
the first thing he bought when they moved to Wisconsin, because as you know from being from Orange County, you don't really have much grass to cut, and you don't cut it very often. He jumps out and buys a John Deere riding tractor, riding mower, and was taking pictures of him riding around on it. Country boy now.
Isn't it great to be here?
Absolutely.
Gosh, I just love living here. And you guys, now tell us how Cowboy Logic Radio started.
All right. You want me to do
Oh,
that?
boy.
Don's
Here we
good at
go.
that.
Okay. Back in 2008, I started vetting Barack Obama.
Oh, that sounds so depressing. What a job.
And so about midway through the year, I knew what he was all about. And so social media was just starting to kick off with Facebook and Twitter and things like that. So I started some pretty heavy diatribes in Facebook. And for the next 3 or 4 years, I kept hearing people say, "You got to do a radio show."
His diatribes are called Cowboy Logic.
Cowboy Logic were the diatribes. So Donna and I in 2012 were standing in front of the TV together, screaming at the TV. She's screaming
I do that
much
a lot.
louder. And
Was this November of 2012 by any chance?
I don't even remember when it was, but it was
Like,
getting
oh,
close
no,
to
not
that.
again.
That was one of the worst days that I can remember. It's just like, we didn't re-elect him. What?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
So I had a musical recording studio in the house, and just decided we've got the technology, the capabilities with internet and everything. Let's start a radio show. So we configured the recording studio into a radio broadcast studio, and started our own radio show. And what is it now? 5-6 years later.
And we also
We finally partnered with Steve Graddick and LBB,
and a gentleman by the name of Ron Phillips, who is running Talk America Radio, which is talkamericaradio.us. And there's some 50 shows on there now. And if you go on that website and cowboylogic.us, you'll see a wealth of information. There's we have authors that we've had on. We've had all the people that you see right
I saw
now.
you had Pamela Geller. You have some.
We've had Pam Geller on.
Yeah,
yep.
wow.
Gordon,
that was
that's a
actually
story.
the interview that I believe I started Radio Puking
'Cause he
on,
couldn't.
which is the
Can you
I'm
say
Don Neuen thing, because
Yes.
between Fiducia and Geller, a New York Jew and a New Jersey Italian,
It wasn't working. He just kind of went
I go
out.
out to the pasture and cut 20 acres and come back, and they're
We're still
Now,
wide open.
For our listeners who aren't familiar, Pam Geller, gosh, she was just sort of a gadfly, wasn't she? Sort of a fashionista, and then she help me out here.
Well, she does Atlas Shrugged, and
Okay.
she is a huge
Advocate for free speech.
free speech, as well as exposing
the Muslim
a
Brotherhood.
lot of the weird stuff that's going on with
Right.
the Muslim Brotherhood.
It was her thing in Texas
Yeah.
where they had a shooting.
Garland, Texas,
In Garland,
right? Yep.
Texas. And we talked to her just before that, and she paid tens of thousands of dollars for security
I
because
thought
she
it was
knew
over
that was going to be a
50
problem.
grand.
It was an art exhibition of
Muhammad.
drawing Muhammad, the cartoons of
which
Muhammad.
is blasphemous to the, the diehard Muslims, essentially.
They had a hit on her, and they were supposed to behead her that night.
They still do.
Those are called fatwas.
Uh-huh.
Fatwa.
First time we heard about that was Salman Rushdie, right?
Yep.
Correct.
Wow.
This has been going on for a long time. This has been going on for hundreds of years.
We just spent the weekend with a lot of people with a lot of fatwas.
Yeah, a
on
lot of
their heads.
fatwas on them.
Okay, so on that note, we'll take our first break and hear from Tanner Health System. When we get back, Donna Fiducia, Don Neuen, we're going to hear about this wonderful weekend it sounds like you guys had in South Carolina. So stick around, everyone. We'll see you back here in 60 seconds.
At Tanner, we're advancing health throughout West Georgia and East Alabama because we know that exceptional care isn't based on how many patients we serve, but how well we serve them. That's why we're focused on quality, delivering the best possible care for our patients. It's why we're expanding our clinical services and building new facilities to serve our growing community. And it's why we're looking beyond our hospitals and medical practices to develop sustainable wellness and preventive health programs in our region. What makes a hospital great has changed. It's not how many beds we have. It's how well we care for the neighbors who need them. Delivering the right care to every patient, every time, is how Tanner is advancing health with medicine beyond measure. Learn more at tanner.org or find a physician on our medical staff by calling 770-214-CARE.
When cowboys didn't dance, didn't wear designer shirts, and their hearts were filled with memories, their bodies filled with hurt.
We were just listening to the music, everybody. This is great music today. Lori Wilson still with you, with Donna Fiducia, Don Neuen. Tell us about that song that Colin just played.
This was a song that I first heard in, let me think when this would have been, 1995 or 96. And a country band that I was actually playing in was playing at Cowboys in Kennesaw, big country music club. And the opening band for the band that I played in was some band called Lone Star.
Just
Nobody had
some
ever heard of them.
band, those guys.
Nobody had
Open
ever
for
heard
him.
of them, okay?
They opened for you.
They opened for me.
Awesome.
And so I was listening to their sound check, and then they did their show, and I was blown away by these guys. Absolutely blown away by them. And this was back when John Rich from Big and Rich was in Lone Star as the bass player.
So John Rich opened for Don.
Yeah, he probably doesn't remember that, but
That's cool.
at any rate, they have this song called When Cowboys Didn't Dance. And it basically was talking about kind of making fun in a little way of all the rhinestone cowboys that
Garth
showed
Brooks.
up to line dance when that was so big.
And they
Remember that in
didn't
the
wear
80s.
designer shirts. That's,
Yeah.
the
I
whole thing.
mean, John Travolta is a cowboy.
Yeah, well,
Right. Okay.
he could dance,
But
too.
at any rate, I called Richie McDonald, who wrote this song, about a year ago. And I asked him, I said, look, man, we've got a radio show that's called Cowboy Logic Radio. And When Cowboys Didn't Dance has always been my favorite, one of my favorite songs. And I said, would you give us permission to use that as our theme song? And he said, absolutely. He's a diehard conservative.
Good man.
And, great guy. And so the version that you hear on our radio show, you can't find anymore. It's a live version of that song that they performed at the Wild Horse Saloon in Nashville, Tennessee.
Wow. That's so great.
Such feeling in that song.
Yeah,
Really, the guy's
yeah.
got such a wonderful voice. Who's the singer?
Richie McDonald.
Richie
Rich
McDonald.
McDonald.
I need to just interrupt because I have been remiss in not reminding our listeners that we are on Facebook Live right now. So if you want to, hey everybody.
Oh, are we?
Yeah. So if you want to see Donna and Don, WLBB 1330 Facebook happening right now with Joel at the con. Okay.
How you doing, Joe?
Hey, Joel over here.
How you doing?
Yo, Joe.
Yo, Joel.
Joel.
We're getting his name wrong. Okay. In God We Trust America, the 6th Annual South Carolina Tea Party Coalition Convention Tell us about that. That was last weekend?
Yep.
Yeah, we had the pleasure of actually emceeing both days.
That sounds...
And Corey Lewandowski was there, former Trump campaign manager, Tom Fitton from Judicial Watch, and a ton of people that are really on the cutting edge of what is going on as far as trying to wake up the sleeping giant here to the threat of Islam. And it's not radical Islam. It's Islam if they follow the doctrine.
Yeah, I'm drawing a blank. What's the president of Turkey's name?
Erdogan.
Okay. Erdogan came right out and said, Islam is Islam.
Okay, so there's no
there is
differentiating.
no radical Islam. There is no, Islam is Islam. And you either adhere to the doctrines of Sharia law or you don't.
Okay, devil's advocate, because I work in the academy. Yeah, well, Mormon missionaries send out their missionaries. They want to convert the whole world.
Yeah, but do they chop your head off? Do they kill
I don't
you?
know
Do they
too
blow
many
you up?
Mormons of late that are strapping suicide bombs onto themselves
Or
or their
Buddhists.
children, for that matter.
Well,
Or Sikhs, for that matter, quite frankly.
yeah, that's
you know? And that's the difference. And there are so many Muslims out there that really are, I always say, the religion needs a reformation.
And the Sikhs are getting a bad name because of all this,
Yeah,
too.
because they wear turbans. And so nobody knows the difference. But the thing is, there are so many out there that just want to
I do know the
practice the
difference,
religion.
Donna. Thank you very much.
Well,
it's the way they braid their...
Oh, and they never cut their hair,
True.
right?
I don't know.
Okay, so
But-
another great philosopher said at a prayer breakfast a few years ago, lest we get on our high horses, let's not forget the Christians and the Crusades.
Yeah, which was in response to terrorism at the time, to push back against it.
Against
That is the difference.
Muslim invasion of the Holy Land.
If
right?
you have a coexist bumper sticker on your car, that was probably printed by the Muslim Brotherhood. Just look up the Muslim Brotherhood, please, and find out. If you are a Muslim and you don't adhere to this, you're essentially an apostate. And that is the problem. The people who, you see it, whether you're Muslim or not, you see it on campus. Anybody who wants to speak out gets shouted down. And it's happening in this country to the point where I believe we're at a tipping point. And that was the whole idea of the South Carolina Tea Party Coalition Convention this year, is to basically hold, let Trump be Trump, as Corey Lewandowski's book is called, and hold him to the fire to what he said. Because if he doesn't succeed, this country is going down. This country goes down, the world goes down.
I was listening to a podcast of Cowboy Logic Radio last night and this morning, and I'm really getting that feeling that you guys and your speakers are saying, wake up, everybody. And it's so easy just to say, that's just politics. We don't like to talk politics.
It's a lot easier to bury your head in the sand.
Yeah.
It is.
And I've got a saying that I've used on LBB, Cowboy Logic Radio, for years, and it's simple. If you don't go to bed every night absolutely fatigued from trying to restore America from the destruction that's taken place, you're just not doing enough.
Yeah.
So what can our listeners, what can everyday, West Georgia, East Alabama listeners do?
Educate yourself.
Load your bullets.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, load your gun with bullets. And these kind of people that were at this convention that we were at last week are the bullets for you. They're
You can-
well-vetted individuals that you can like and share and retweet and repost their information.
So let's give our listeners a YouTube, a YouTube to-do list. So whom should they
You talking about
see?
individual speakers?
Yeah.
Well, the YouTube...
Tom Fitton. You want to follow Tom Fitton's work with Judicial Watch. That's huge.
That's Fitton.
Yeah, and
write this down, everyone.
I am very, very pleased to have been able to introduce him, and he left my introduction on, he reposted his speech there, and has 27,000 views so far.
Okay, so let's make it, 20 million.
There you go.
Everybody-
Tom
Well,
Fitton's
here-
pretty heavy.
Okay.
Here is the one thing that everybody tried to put across.
Okay.
Islam is not a religion per se. It is a way of life. It is a culture. It tells you how to do everything from how to conduct yourself to the point of how to brush your teeth. I mean, that is what is in the Quran.
So what's
It's a culture, and therefore True Sharia is complete control. You give yourself
Submission.
Completely over.
complete submission. And true Sharia and a constitutional republic cannot coexist. That is the bottom line.
Okay, so what's the solution? I mean, we can't go out and kill everybody.
No, and nobody's suggesting that anybody
Okay.
do that. The solution is to educate yourself first, and then educate everybody around you, and educate them to the fact that and this is not an anti-Islam moment here that we're trying to have. It is a pro-America, pro-republic, pro-constitution, and the two cannot coexist.
Right, we are at cross purposes.
We are. And the thing is,
Political correctness is going to take this country down.
And they know that. If you look at some of the speakers, Claire Lopez from the Center for Security Policy, she pretty much goes through the whole thing of Sharia. She's studied it for years. And if you go to youtube.com/Tea Party Movie, you'll find most of the
or just
speakers
search for
there.
Tea Party Movie is one word in YouTube. You'll see all of these speakers.
I mean, John Guandolo
Yep.
was there. Lieutenant Colonel Buzz Patterson, who carried the nuclear football for Bill Clinton and claims he lost the codes not once, not twice, but 3 times.
He being Clinton?
Clinton.
Yes.
Why am I not surprised?
Colonel Patterson goes down to the Oval Office and from time to time needs to check in with Clinton or the president. Military aides check in with the president to confirm that they do, in fact, have the military codes, which, by the way, Clinton kept with a rubber band folded against his credit cards in his pocket.
Yeah,
That's
and
where the nuclear codes stayed with him. So Patterson,
Can you
Colonel
imagine?
Patterson goes down there and just says, "Hey, checking in. Let's confirm you've got your nuclear codes." And because Colonel Patterson carried the nuclear football, which was the satchel that carried everything that has to do with nuclear armament. Okay, so Clinton goes, "Hell, Buzz, I can't find them." Well, when do you remember seeing them last? Was it yesterday or? It ended up being over a month.
Oh, man.
And he did this 3 times.
3 times.
Well, he had other things to think about.
Yeah.
And on that note, we also have one more break to think about. I told you this half an hour was going to go
Way too fast.
Way too
They
fast.
always do.
Listen, when you have 60 seconds, we're going to hear from Tanner Health System. Get a pen and a paper. We've got more YouTubables for you. Homework, everybody. There's something we could do about all this. So we'll stick around. We'll be right back.
At Tanner, we're advancing health throughout West Georgia and East Alabama. Because we know that exceptional care isn't based on how many patients we serve, but how well we serve them. That's why we're focused on quality, delivering the best possible care for our patients. It's why we're expanding our clinical services and building new facilities to serve our growing community. And it's why we're looking beyond our hospitals and medical practices to develop sustainable wellness and preventive health programs in our region. What makes a hospital great has changed. It's not how many beds we have. It's how well we care for the neighbors who need them. Delivering the right care to every patient, every time, is how Tanner is advancing health with medicine beyond measure. Learn more at tanner.org or find a physician on our medical staff by calling 770-214-CARE.
Cowboys didn't dance, didn't wear designer shirts.
Back again, everybody. We're having this most exciting Community Voice Wednesday, January 24th. Donna Fiducia, Don Neuen, and, of course, moi, Lori Wilson, with you. Okay, so we have just a little bit of time left in this fantastic show. We were talking about Sharia law, Muslim Brotherhood, what we can do in the next 6 minutes. Help us solve our lives and give us some marching orders.
Again, the main thing is true Sharia and democracy cannot coexist. You got a coexist bumper sticker on your car. It sounds beautiful because everything's sweetness and light, what you're learning, and when you grow up, everything's great. That's not the case
Right.
in real life.
John Lennon's Imagine.
Yeah, unfortunately.
No, it's dumb.
As much as I did love John
I
Lennon.
It's a
did
warm
too.
and fuzzy thing, but the reality of it is you've got so many operatives working against you that you can't be warm and fuzzy. It doesn't mean that you have to be violent. You have to be smart.
Educate yourself.
You know, the Barack Obama set Donald Trump up to fail. Mm-hmm. And a lot of it were people that were already in the administration with Barack Obama. He gave them, as you can experience in education, tenure. Mm-hmm. Can't get rid of these people. Mm-hmm. And so we, the people, need to end up insisting that these people that are hang-ons in the administration be either released and removed, or they need to be bumped down to a position where they're sharpening pencils, and that's all they can do.
Isn't that what candidate Trump promised to do, and why?
Drain the
It's
swamp.
very hard because the swamp creatures aren't going down without a fight, and that really is the problem. There's another gentleman that we've known pretty well. In fact, he stayed here at our farm in Rootville a couple of times with his lovely wife, Victoria. His name is Trevor Loudon, Loudon. He is from New Zealand. Oh. And he sees as an outsider what's going on. And he wrote a book that is footnoted. It is the Bible of what's going on in the world as far as radical Islam and combining with Marxism, quite frankly. Mm-hmm. Karl Marx was was hand in hand with the Muslim Brotherhood, and so was Hitler,
right?
Because they realized
Karl Marx would be very proud of all the useful idiots that we've allowed to be fostered, especially on our universities.
But it's in Congress, and that's what he wrote. The book is called "The Enemies Within: Communists, Socialists, and Progressives in the U.S. Congress." He names them all. The book is like 3 inches thick.
What do you say to listeners who might be saying, "Wow, you guys are a bunch of alarmists. Chill out"?
Would have said that 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Everything that we thought 10 years ago was alarmist is coming true today.
I would say
take
a trip.
Progress.
Take a trip to Dearborn, Michigan.
Yeah.
Yeah, no kidding. Or where is it in Minnesota?
Dearbornistan.
Minneapolis. It's in between. It's a stretch between St. Paul and Minneapolis.
Locals call it Dearbornistan. There's no-go zones. There's no-go zones in London. There's no-go zones in all parts of Europe because of the influx of immigrants that you cannot vet because they fabricate paperwork.
And then they're so protected because nobody wants to be, all of this because we don't want to be seen as racist or whatever.
Well, that's the MO of the left.
Exactly. They shut you down that way.
They have no argument, so they go, well, you're a racist, you're a homophobe.
Yeah.
Well, the one guy that we did speak with he basically waterboarded Khalid Sheikh Mohammed, who is the mastermind of 9/11. And when he said they got to be very good friends, this guy also was
they
at
had
the
to be friends.
Well, they respected each
head.
other.
Yeah.
They respected each other, and he said, "America will die from within because their
by
political
its own hand.
That by its own hand, because their political correctness will bring them under, and then they'll be so weary that they will expose their necks to us."
Yeah.
That's exactly what Khalid Sheikh
totally
Mohammed
He
said.
said, we're going to ride the train of democracy and take America down.
I mean, this reminds me of in the Odyssey, the land of the lotus eaters. You know, we're fat and happy, we're comfy.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Right.
Complacent.
Like the Holy Roman Empire.
Right.
Same thing.
It's happening. So if you know your history, you know where we are on it. I'd also like to add Tommy Robinson, the English
Oh, absolutely.
guy. You've got to look up Tommy Robinson.
Absolutely.
And you will not believe.
And Britain First, that's being slammed so heavily.
Yeah. So I guess the more shrill they scream, the better we're doing. We just need to be impervious to their screams and their accusations, which are all boundless and mindless.
And
honestly.
anything that they are, or they say they are the opposite of. Antifa, anti-fascist, is fascist.
Pro-fascist, right.
And Winston Churchill said that. Mm-hmm. The fascists of the right will soon become the fascists of the left.
And in the 45 seconds that remain to us, I can't believe. First of
Sleep tight, everybody, after hearing this.
Have a great day. No, tune in to Cowboy Logic Radio, cowboylogic.us. Mm-hmm. And your next broadcast is tonight?
No, it was
last night from 9 to 11. But they do
just find us on 1330 AM and 106.3 FM, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes.
Okay, that
WLBB.
WLBB. I got that from
WNBC.
Thank you so much. You're going to come back sometime?
Anytime.
All right. Thank you. All right, and you guys, everybody, thank you for being with us. Check out those YouTube assignments that we gave you, and just start talking to people, okay?
Educate yourself.
See you in 23 and a half hours. Set your clock. Bye.